prison. Close to 100,000 of us ended up in here in the first quarter of this year alone. With 18% of us on remand, a further 82% of us already have a release date, and so will be released. So don't you think it's time we break the cycle? Break the cycle, break the cycle, break the cycle.
Was a little raspy. Was there any particular surprise?
Good afternoon, Barney. Welcome to Barbed Wireless. You're tuned in to Wednesday's request show with myself, Woodstock. So first up, we've got a great wee tune from Danny Hartford and Seahall. Here's There's a World Out There.
Send on your resource up, Postman!
That was our beat, troops. A wee change of tempo now, lads. This song's for Scott and D-Hall. Here's Oasis, Whatever, live at Nebworth. I was part of the Barbed Wireless team when it got named back in 2000, when it started back in 2014. I was in doing a sentence then, and it was like an education sort of class as well. So Barry got us over and I started enjoying it then. That's when I started doing the edit with the songs and all that. So I thought I got a wee taste for it and I liked it back then. And then when I came in this sentence, I said to Barry, can you get us over? And he got us over quite quickly. So it's came a lot farther than back in 2014. So there's a lot more stuff to do. And my mental health's just skyrocketed, man. Better, it's got better for us, and just the stuff I'm doing and learning, and I plan on doing it for the side, so it's just took my sense away. It's given me a sense of reality, do you know what I mean? Detached me from the prison life. You're listening to Barbed Wireless, troops. This is a Wednesday night request show. Remember guys, if you want to hear a specific tune, just fill in the music request form available throughout the hall and submit it to our gallery staff, then tune in on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday night 6 to 7. Okay, next up, here's Jazzy with Giving Me for Danny and Seahall. My sentences have probably accumulated to 10 years, so I've probably served them 6 years inside from 2003. I'd never touched any of the software at all before. Trying to find my feet through life, I've done on numerous things like labour, chefing. I've tried loads of different things, and I found something that I'm really starting to enjoy. I thought at the beginning it was just to pass time in the prison, but I'm starting to find my feet in the media business and I'm really enjoying it, so I think I'll maybe try and start a career with it. Do you know what I mean? I can't go wrong if I do. I've got a lot more motivation, definitely a lot more motivation, and I've got drive and purpose to go somewhere, do you know what I mean? Whereas the end of the other sentences, I've just been wanting to get back to maybe the fun parts, just getting out and getting carrying on with my pals and that. Now I'm actually wanting to do something more purposeful and a bit more productive in my life.
I think you should take that.
So that's
what you do.
all
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
you
when
want.
he's oversight, you listen to them,
No,
you
I
say,
think-
can you click them? And,
I think, like, for example,
Barry's had a massive impact on my development. Barry and the whole Barbed team all together have had a massive impact on my development. What I've got to do, what I've got to do.
yeah, you know that bit like what you got to do, what you got to do. I like the first one more.
Yeah, the
natural.
first one was better than that one,
More
yeah.
So
natural.
there's a
Resource Hub, Barry Richardson. My name is Barry Richardson. I'm a communications officer within Bill Linney's Resource Hub. Woody will tell you, I've worked with him for many years and he's had his issues. Most of the guys in here have had his issues, but this time they seem to be non-existent. He's been involved in the radio station, but this time he's come in and he's really knuckled down into it. We've also introduced the media side of things that he's taken like a duck to water, and it seems to click something within him that he's thought, this is something I want to do in the future. And he has actually gone on to steps to college through Fife College, and he's now applying to do media once he gets out, which is fantastic because he seems to have a focus, and that's exactly what you're looking for, guys. If they can get a focus that takes them to the next stage of staying out or the next stage of rehabilitation, that's ideal. And the fact that he wants to go to college to learn that skill, he can take that further on. Even other with other visitors in that saw some of the material he'd done, and they said that's fantastic, and they even mentioned just daft things like editing TikTok videos for people. The amount of people that use TikTok and things just now but don't know the editing side of it, if Woody could learn a skill like that, he can go and he can make some kind of living doing this kind of thing as well.
This is my personal statement for Carla College.
Can you read a bit to me?
Yeah. Over the years, I've come to the understanding that media and broadcasting piques my interest most. These subjects have been very appealing to me from a young age. I've always been eager to be involved in drama shows throughout primary and secondary school. Growing up through the emergence of modern technologies, including the evolution of the internet and birth of social media, this has had a great effect on my development. My formative years were spent with my great-grandparents, my mother in and out of my life, which impacted my discipline a wee bit throughout adolescence. This had a massive impact on my mental health, and my enthusiasm for the things I really like to do was lost. However, in recent years I've taken control of my life again and found passion working with the Citizens Theatre, igniting the fire within me to follow my dreams again. I'm extremely passionate about filmmaking and media. I'm keen to develop my skills in order to excel within my chosen pathway of a career in broadcasting. I'll always strive to be at the top of my game and look forward to working in a busy environment whilst learning valuable skills both for life and furthering educationally.
My name is James Catchpole and I've been on for 10, 11 months. Yeah, I love the barbers. For the top thing for me is just the atmosphere. It kind of feels like you're on the outside for that wee period of time throughout the day. Just because you're talking to everybody, you've got the music on and you're just having a general laugh.
Haircut, freshest cut.
Oh, ready for it.
Oh, my haircut.
I'm not gonna lie, I was shit myself going into the barbers, but just that thing of cutting the hair, because you know what it's like, it's when you're going to get that done, you know what I mean, you don't want it messed up. So you've always got that in your mind, and I was really nervous at first. I was really nervous at first, didn't want to do it, shying away, just kept cleaning, things like that. I am the pass man anyway, but at the same time I did want to learn it. But as time went on, then I kind of opened up and I became more comfortable with it. And the boys in here, they all make you comfortable anyway. I've met a lot of good people in here, definitely.
Would you do this when you get out?
No, I don't think I will. I don't think I'll be doing this, no. But to be honest with you, I've got a couple of business ideas with one of the other boys, so I'll probably put it to some use, but I don't see myself actually cutting hair.
It's a good skill to have.
Yeah, of course. Take care of the boys before the night out, you know. Well, first coming into jail, it was, anxiety was through the roof. Didn't know what to expect. You only go by the programmes and stuff that you watch and the stories that your family tell you a few years ago, being in prison and stuff like that. So from then to now it's a complete change. So I feel I've received a lot of support. Don't get me wrong, it took a while to get there, but it's understandable considering the amount of cons that are in here. But I've just been seeking support in terms of my mum's suicide and dealing with that, because I never really dealt with that outside. And all the groups like recovery and stuff like that, they've welcomed me with open arms. So yeah, I've definitely felt that I've received the support that I need. I think for the first few years, I just couldn't believe it, to be honest. I didn't want to believe it, that my mum had passed away in that way. And I just I took over those feelings and just kept my mind busy with doing the wrong things. I just never really accepted it, didn't want to deal with it. Not that I didn't want to deal with it, like I say, I didn't want to accept it, so I felt that I didn't have to. And I didn't really know how to, if I'm honest. And coming in here and just hearing some of the boys and stuff like that have been through similar things, it just made me open up a bit, and just being able to stand up and having that confidence and speaking in front of everybody, it definitely helped me. Just general, just let me open up, and just to me it feels like acceptance. Outside you're scared to outside you're lost, you're in a bubble, you expect to be this big man, you know what I mean, and hang about with the boys, and it's out there as a sign of weakness, really, well that I thought. But in here you just seem to open up because there's a lot of boys in the same boat as you, and you just know that you're not the only one that's suffering. So just that for me alone has been fantastic. Being in here, I definitely feel back to myself, and I've always been motivated out there. But like I say, there's just a period of time when I lost all that. But being in here, I definitely feel just having a clearer mind and getting on with the boys in here and just having that time to think about what I want to do outside, what my plans and stuff like that. And it's definitely helped being in here. I've learned a lot. But it's took for this for me to realise that. So it's definitely a good thing that this has happened. I know it sounds strange, but being in prison has definitely helped me. I definitely needed it at that point in my life.
And are you looking forward to getting out? Are you ready?
Can't wait.
What's the first thing?
Ready for my sunbed.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you get out?
Genuinely a sunbed. Genuinely a sunbed. I've got things to do in the house and stuff like that. I'm going to meet up with my brother, just get things sorted around the house before the Thai people come out. And then we're going to just go for a quick bite to eat in a sunbed. That's genuinely what I'm going to do.
My name is Christopher Campbell English, and my job title is prison worker. My job is to work in prisons and demonstrate, offer hope to people that are here in the custodial system, to show them that there's maybe a way out. It doesn't need to be that way, is the sort of phrase. People's lives are twisted and broken, so it's just showing them that there's another way. It doesn't need to be the cycle that they're in. The reason I'm in this role is that it's very much needed because of the amount of the prison population that are in addiction itself. And the idea, because of the amount of deaths that have been through Glasgow, or Scotland certainly, over the past year, is to try and break that pattern of deaths. And by doing it, by catching people who are in the addiction, realising that there's a way out, and hopefully breaking their cycle of being in places like this, and getting them into rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is obviously a big word for something that is often seen by persons as just simply getting clean, but it's more than getting clean. It's trying to break the cause for addiction in the first place, where we try and unlock the reasons for why they're caught up in addiction, the trauma that's perhaps caused it, often they're masking things that are taking place in their life, and it becomes almost a better place for them than what reality is, which for those of us who have been in addiction, that is just unthinkable. Phone call that I had a month ago from a chap who phoned up on a Saturday afternoon and asked if he could get away on Monday, and his words were, "I'm homeless, I'm in addiction, I'm going to die." So that's quite crucial that you get help somewhere. We got him to a conference, and a rehab in Manchester had driven up for that conference, and they got a hold of him that day, and to the best of my knowledge he's doing fine. Every now and again I get contact from the assistant directors there who says he's doing fine, sends me a wee photograph occasionally of the chap from the back, so I know he's doing fine. When a paramedic or ambulance comes to someone that's fallen off a motorbike, let's say, and they're badly damaged, or an RTC, the paramedic will deal immediately with what potentially could be life-threatening. My job is effectively a slowed down version of that, so they might not die today or tomorrow. Often that is the case, actually, they could be well, but their death might be something that they're looking at in a few months' time, but they know that that's what they're getting, and today is getting closer to the end, so I would say it's very crucial. I wouldn't want to criticise, but the resources is always a lot less than what the need is, and that's through many different reasons. So I would say that there is not enough resources outside to help ex-offenders and to help them to not re-offend again in the future. Someone listening to this will say, well, we need to consider the offender and whether they want to engage, which is something that we need to consider, whether the offender or not wants to engage with the resources that's there, because you're going to get persons who won't, and those persons are very difficult to then catch.
Hello and welcome. We are Barbed Wireless Media, and today is a special podcast as we have the #1 gaffer, the governor, Mick Stoney himself, who's taken time out of his busy schedule to sit down with us and answer some questions. So first of all, thank you, sir, for coming down.
Rehabilitation is always at the forefront, and engaging with people and building relationships and trying to get people engaged and interested in activity that would help them when they get released is our main aim. So, but we want to add on and layer up as much as possible engagement with individuals and try and get them back on track or on track for the first time. I think you've got lots of kind of things to look at. So we possibly criminalise too many things and they end up in prison. We don't give enough community supports to people who are really struggling, socially isolated, struggling with mental health, well-being. We, obviously, the well-documented drug deaths and addiction elements, there's so prison to rehab is a relatively recent concept that we need to kind of bed in well and make sure that people are not just being pushed out at the end of the sentence with no supports. I think we need to reduce the prison population, so whatever measure is required. So the emergency release, as the title gives it away, we're in a position of crisis, or we wouldn't be releasing people this way. We don't want to be in a position of crisis, so we want measures in terms of safe and secure custody that allows us to run at a level that's operationally safe, but also allows us to deliver the rehabilitative work that we discussed. So that is, this point of emergency release is the starting point to try and get to somewhere where you've got people in prison because they need to be there, and whatever that number is, we don't know as yet, but also prisons that are able to function and not overcrowded and not bursting at the seams and struggling. So we move the impact, you start to see better relationships grow, better impact on people when return to the community, and hopefully less offending. If we move to sort of future methods about managing people well in prison, that the victim would know that we've got the time, the effort, the energy and the skills to deal with somebody so that they never do these things again. I'm sure if you give a victim a choice to say that, do you want this pound of flesh and somebody must stay there and be punished in prison, or do you want to make sure that it never happens again to anybody else? The latter would be the choice. So while we if we can reduce the prison population to a safe level by keeping the people who will create and cause victims harm in prison, then how do we deal with the individuals? We need space, time and skills to do that, and that's what we want to focus on. A lot of our guys have lived through trauma, through chaotic lifestyles, physically, mentally, sexually abused. That leads to their offending and also not understanding where they are and why they are at this point in time. So that's the bit we're talking about, building resources up. So in the community we just need to keep adding resources to their skill set, whether it be people that surround them that are good people, in terms of statutory or voluntary services, community opportunities that they can engage in, that just make them feel part of a connected community. There's a whole range of things, and the direct service like addictions and others need to step in, which they do. But some people can't cope leaving here just now with maintaining the tenancy. It's beyond their skill set, beyond their resources. They just get so stressed out about these things, can't cope, and then leads them to the behaviours to try and just escape. So we need to work on these things jointly, and it's not just a case of putting somebody in a tenancy and they'll be okay, because they won't. Lots won't. Lots are not capable of doing that. Some are, and it's the same with jobs. People go to jobs they won't be able to maintain if they've never really worked before. Start leaving here on the Friday and getting into a job on the Monday and expected to work 5 days a week. It's not realistic. We need to try and blend people back into the community in a better way and accept the fact there'll be failures, and we need to kind of keep trying to figure out how to support them.
Right lads, a wee start for you here. In the UK, less than 1/3 of substance misusing prisoners who complete a support programme while in prison had reoffended after 12 months. So, does that open the question, is there enough support outside of prison to prevent reoffending?
This is basically like the housing and joined onto a community centre, but basically this was my old my primary school. For day one, this is where I played here, and it's kinda feels mad even saying that. Like now it's here's me, still here. Like can't get rid of him. So my name's Chris McPherson, and I was in and out of prison for the age of 15, and I'm 41 now. I had 2 sentences, 4 years when I was 15 and 16 years when I was 21. My mental health wasn't too good before I went there. I think as I'd explained to a pal of mine, it was like I was primed for prison. Through my upbringing wasn't that bad, right? I've heard a lot of worse upbringings, right? But I remember my dad telling me stories about gang fighting in the Gorbals when he was growing up, and just being enthralled with these stories. Showing me, I remember he showed me a stab wound he had under his arm when I was like talking maybe 6-year-old. Now that I'm older, I think to myself, like, how's that something you would want to tell a 6-year-old, your son? So it was almost like, so my dad died when I was in just second year of high school, and it was like we started the gang fighting and the drinking and smoking weed and all that, and it just got worse for there. So before I went to the young offenders, I already had that mentality. Do you know what I mean? And when you go into especially the young offenders, everybody's got a chip on their shoulder. Everybody's out to either prove themselves or they're just on the receiving end of somebody proving themselves. And I'm not saying I was, obviously there's more influential people, and I wouldn't class myself as an influential prisoner, but I was in like a lot of kind of trouble in the young offenders as opposed to the adults. There's no stigma in the scheme, unless obviously depending on the crime, but in my experience there's there's no stigma in the community because almost everybody in prison who I know or knew came for the schemes. Like it wasn't a bad thing to say you'd been in prison. It was almost like you were like a war hero kind of. It's like coming back from war, like Harry Bulging, you know what I mean? Like, and it's still like that. But go and try and get a job. Go and try and do something with yourself. Like, I wouldn't employ me if I read about me own paper, but sit and talk to me. Do you know what I mean? And this is maybe the thing that maybe it needs to be addressed, because I believe we do have, as ex-prisoners and all that, we do have to put the work in, but at the same time, if I'm putting the work in, obviously, right, I'm living a crime-free lifestyle, I've got my liberty, I'm alive, I'm out in the community, I'm not on supervision for the first time since the age of 15. For the age of 15, I've either been locked up or been on some sort of parole conditions out in the community. So it's like, maybe you'll get somebody that's like, aye, well, you should be behaving, aye, I should be. But does that mean to say, I have to commit to no opportunities, no prospects, no job, no nothing? Come on, but you're gonna get, that's gonna probably send people back. Because I remember getting out and I'd never paid a bill before. And I'd get out and it was all, everything was online and you had to go here, go there. And, I remember when I first got out, obviously I volunteered for social work, right, so, and they'd suggested this, so they took me to the job centre says we can't pay you unless you've got a bank account. Went to the bank, you know what the bank says? Can't open a bank account with no ID. I was like, I've just come out of prison, how can I show you ID, mate? So there's this wee kind of disconnect here where guys are probably just going, no what, F this, going and getting a bottle of wine or going and getting drugs, or, and then before you know it they're back in because they can't handle the stress of coming out and trying to navigate all this broken system. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just putting the finishing touches on our PPP production. It's a wee short film we're making. It's people's perception of prisoners. It's just to sort of give people a wee insight to what goes on behind Baloney's doors.
Thank you. Who's you taking him down?
Hiya. Right on. There you go. Take care, right?
Thank you very much,
bother.
appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm what's yellow.
Good. A better height.
Bread? No, don't be bread.
No.
You.
No.
So see if you look straight ahead, like into the distance there, you can actually see Baloney Prison. Like, you know how the kind of gable end of the building, it's like the big grey bit. You can actually see the halls, the sides of them.